All music is political, and rap music cannot be conservative by definition. And any conservative rap is grifting and disingenuous. Let's get into why. What's good? My name is Brilliance Proper, and over the last couple of years, I've seen this scourge of conservative MAGA rap try to become something legitimate, and there's a reason why it never will be and why it's always struggling for relevancy. It absolutely has fans, but none of them are actually of the culture of hip-hop, and there's a reason for that. Several things led me to making this video. The first was this Twitter thread well over a year ago where a white dude came on the replies and decried political messages in music and said that he was going to listen to jazz because it's divorced from politics and race. And you really have to be culturally unaware to believe that race and politics aren't responsible for jazz. Jazz music was created by and for black people. Its origins is black, and it's similar to hip-hop in that the conditions of black life led directly to its inception. I saw someone say that white people love lo-fi beats because the lack of lyrics draws them to it, and it appears apolitical on the surface. They don't have to hear black struggles or opinions and can participate without getting too into the details about how they feel about us. I think that's very true about jazz as well. As stated before, jazz music is a product of its environment and the people who created it. A huge component of jazz is swing. In music, there's the standard or straight time signature, playing with a metronome in a very specific pattern, everyone in unison, a product of classical European styles. Swing is a variation of that with more improvisation and unpredictability in how instruments are played. Jazz was seen as messy and unruly, as all predominantly black music is initially described. It wasn't appreciated by outsiders who aren't a part of the culture that created it and that it wasn't directed towards, which is fine for things considered to be ahead of their time or misunderstood. It happens with a lot of black culture, slang, fashion, and of course, our music. Then there's this sea change where white people crack the code on how to participate well enough to fool other white people into thinking that they're being original, and then finally they accept it. There's never a 100% conversion rate, but there are enough white people in jazz for them to see it as legitimate music now. And I'm sure it doesn't hurt that the themes of love or much of instrumental jazz are inoffensive enough to the sensibilities of those who aren't fond of thinking much when it comes to their entertainment. That's how we end up with people online saying that jazz isn't political or racial in any way. This is also a phenomenon that happens in things like rock music. Again, another black genre that was largely taken over by white people to the point that when black people participate, they think we're appropriating and not just coming back for what's ours. Because we don't have really fully developed brains in our teenage years and aren't sure about many actual problems in the world we live in, people grow up hearing songs thinking they're devoid of metaphors and satire and can only hear the words as they are. Remember Paul Ryan saying Rage Against the Machine was his favorite band, not realizing that he is the machine and that they weren't singing about just being like mad at their mothers? This happens a lot online when musicians express their political beliefs and people who grew up hearing them are shocked to learn that their views don't align. Think of those that are mad at dead Kennedys, that they're not a right-wing group even though they clearly have a song called Nazi Punks Fuck Off. The Rage Against the Machine one is always hilarious because they have never been anything but radical leftists, but because conservatives aren't very savvy at reading subtext and honestly just straight up listening to the words, many of them get disappointed every year when Tom Morello or Zach De La Rocha says something super leftist and like it came out of nowhere. Seriously, look up what people are saying about imagery in their videos from the 90s on Reddit and Twitter. The lack of awareness is astounding. This brings me to hip-hop culture and rap music. Rap is one of the foundational elements of hip-hop culture along with DJing, b-boying, breaking, graffiti, as well as beatboxing, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Rap is a product of both its environment and of the intentional failings of right-wing conservative politics. And before anyone jumps up about this point, this isn't standing up for Democrats and acting like their actions didn't cause suffering in black and brown communities as well. However, the general Democratic platform lends itself well to rap music overall, which I'll get into later. It makes sense for them to be intertwined where it doesn't for conservatives. Hip-hop culture in and of itself is mostly left-leaning. It's the spirit of succeeding in spite of the policies of Nixon and Reagan, not because of them. Hip-hop at its core is still considered counterculture, even while aspects of it are highly commercialized. In the early years, DJs plugged turntables and streetlights to siphon power and threw jams right in front of the street or in basketball courts and public parks. Rap and b-boy battles took place on the street and sidewalks, not inside some dive bar with country singers. Graffiti was tagged on every surface imaginable, especially on trains that flew through the city. All of these were things that could get them arrested and harassed by police for displaying their creativity. The same police that conservatives love to ensure are overrepresented in predominantly black and lower class areas. For that alone, hip hop and the police have never been on good terms and never will be. And while outlaw country was just that, outside the law, country fans have largely forgotten this aspect of their music and have welcomed the authorities with open arms. This is a clear split between us. From there, we can look into how youth-oriented rap has been since its inception, its origins being a literal back-to-school party, and how younger people fall more on the left side. But really, it's the sounds and ever-changing culture of blackness, hard-hitting bass and drums born of urban cities that didn't mesh well with suburban sensibilities. The consistent use of slang terms doesn't appeal to grammar Nazis who don't like deviations from the Queen's, or now King's, English. And those slang terms often change, with words becoming outdated sometimes in the span of a year. And let's not even get into regional slang, which can change the meaning of a word from borough to borough, city to city, state to state. Sampling? It still is, in some circles, seen as theft and uncreative. The turntable is seen as a musical instrument, but DJs aren't seen as musicians. And one of the biggest sticking points is that because rappers don't sing, rap is just N-words talking, as per the De La Soul skit. Rap has been referred to as jungle noise and plenty of other pejoratives, while the focus on stories about inner city life combined with everything I've stated before has made it unacceptable to conservatives. Our culture then started to permeate entertainment through movies by Spike Lee and on television with shows like Arsenio Hall, which hosted Bill Clinton of all people to play the saxophone during his presidential campaign. And say what you will about the Dems, but there's a reason why the majority of black and brown people vote for them. At a minimum, they tend to bring ideas to the table that appeal to liberal sensibilities. Do they always follow through? Hell no. Still, they've got policies that work well to get people out to vote and appear to want to help the greater good. Conservatives generally aren't down for that, and that's their prerogative, but it draws a line in the sand. They're usually trying to trot out so-called colorblind policies and always want to argue against using race as a criteria for anything. That's antithetical to rap, where talking about being black is one of the primary things that gets done, especially with the abundant use of the N-word. You literally cannot be conservative and be pro-black. There's a reason that Obama got a rap mixtape made in honor of his run for presidency with original music from many notable MCs. There's a reason that Jeezy's My President is Black is a hit song. Bernie Sanders is not only cool with Run the Jewels, but he's also gone as far as introducing them at concerts. Hip hop and rap are mostly left-leaning and liberal. Mostly. That's for another video, but in its most authentic form, conservatism has no place. But if there's anything that we know about white people, especially conservatives, is that they love blackface and minstrel shows. In a short rundown, blackface was started around the 19th century by white performers painting their faces black with exaggerated features. They appeared to be a caricature of black people. It was a great way to spread negative stereotypes about us and be extremely racist while still wanting to look like us and be entertained by white people stealing our music and dances. They appeared in minstrel shows, which could also include black performers who also had to put on blackface, only able to be successful by denigrating other black people and perpetuating similar racist stereotypes to perform in front of white audiences. So again, unless black people made fools of themselves to entertain whites, white people weren't going to listen to or watch them. Keep this point in mind. There's this video on Vice's YouTube page on MAGA rap. In it, several Trump-loving Christian conservative rappers are profiled and interviewed, asking two questions. One, why is it so big in MAGA circles? And two, why isn't it bigger? Both of these are easy to figure out, even without even watching the piece. But, you know, if you're going to. We see them following MAGA rapper number one, Forgiato Blow, a white dude who admits that he didn't actually want to be a rapper until Trump was elected.
I feel like Donald Trump never ran, I might never be a rapper.
Trump was the main reason why you got into
in the
MAGA.
beginning.
Yeah.
And then I met the people. Right?
He claims that he's not grifting by rapping about MAGA and Trump, but here's the biggest telltale sign when it comes up all throughout the video. None of his fans like rap music. They only like his music. They say it over and over again. There's even a kid that expresses how much he hates rap and what most rap sounds like, and even the content of Forgiato's music.
What do you like about Forgiato's music?
I just like the pump up. I like how he sings about Trump and stuff that I like.
The pump up. You heard him, man? Pump up.
Do you listen to other rap music?
I used to listen to like mainly country.
Okay.
I started listening to his music and I'm like, yeah, I like this. And I don't like listening to rap music and stuff. I don't listen to that. A lot of times they say a bunch of bad stuff, but I'm hearing your videos. I'm like, wow, I really liked it.
I have a video I did for TikTok after the TV show Swarm came out that addressed the stan community of any artist. In it, I explained that even if at some point a stan used to be a fan of a genre of music, once they are stan, they can no longer have good faith arguments or be trusted in their opinions because they are only a fan of the artist and not the genre. They will excuse every song, their favorite makes no mistakes, and anyone with criticism is dealt with, doxxed, or whatever comes to mind. Again, this is due to them no longer having actual opinions because they're in a trance. They feel that the artist is speaking directly to and for them, so forget about the other stuff. They don't like rap or the way it sounds, but because they like this specific message, they're okay to listen to it. The man is in a blackface and is grifting. He's doing an impression of what he believes black people do in our culture and is imitating it for his MAGA minstrel show. He drives a gaudy car, he has chains, flashes money, and look at his white conservative fan base. These are not hip-hop heads. They do not understand rap slang or AAVE. They do not appreciate the sounds of rap music enough to venture out into more similar music that sounds like it. They only want this product because it is a novelty to them. They don't see it as genuine music. They see it as a mockery of black music, a white person appropriating as they're apt to do.
So what is MAGA rap?
So I'm not a big fan of rap myself, but when it comes to MAGA rap, I will put on some Forgiato Blow, I'll put on some Bryson Gray. I love Bryson Gray.
I guarantee you that they still have harsh critiques of more liberal rap and couldn't tell you why any of it could be considered good. Hell, none of the people in that video can. They tolerate it out of a white face just like they love blackface. And what's better than regular blackface? Blackface done by a black man. So let's get into rapper number 2, Bryson Gray, the black Christian MAGA rapper. This one is even more egregious because he knows better. He used to be in a secular rap group that even got on 106 in Park, if you can believe it.
Similar to Forgiato, Bryson was making more traditional rap music before making the jump to MAGA, even performing on the popular hip-hop show 106 in Park.
He then turned his life over to Jesus and started preaching tolerance and acceptance of all people. I'm fucking with you. He got really hateful, really hateful. Like he wants to kill every liberal and every non-straight person in existence. During the filming of that piece, they run into a trans fan of theirs, which is its own other bag of worms. And this guy is quite literally a transphobe as he is afraid to even be looked at by this person. I get that being a trans conservative is confusing, but rappers should be more secure in their manhood. This man is as secure as wet one-ply toilet paper.
What are you scared of?
I'm transphobic, so I am kind of scared of them.
But he runs around with Forgiato and has a pretty similar fan base of majority white conservative Christians who love hearing their anti-black, conservative, white supremacist rhetoric come out of a black mouth. No different than Tim Scott, Clarence Thomas, or any other token black person that's only allowed to peek at the whites-only table so long as they fall in line. During the course of this whole thing, it's shown that a couple of them have tried to collaborate with other rappers, making more neutral content, but once they got that MAGA hook, they found the most success and started riding that train. A third rapper, another white guy, says he considered himself more of a Christian rapper than MAGA once, but after the Trump train came, he decided to ride it into the sunset. I hope you're seeing a pattern here.
I've been doing music since 2004 and I never had people following me. Nobody bought an album until like 3 years ago.
What changed, do you think?
You know, it could have been the whole political stuff that I put in my music. It didn't really catch steam until Trump.
And you saw a shift of people.
I did kind of see a shift.
And the most interesting thing is that they keep getting their music banned for hate speech on different platforms like Spotify. This, of course, bolsters their racist base since they could just blame it on cancel culture and not the fact that they have a hateful message. And listen, there's a lot of non-conservative rap that is violent and misogynistic, but if you've got to be on another level to get your shit banned repeatedly, well, that's these guys. They have their own release channels and make quick videos, quick money, all with a dedicated base that refuses to explore anything else inside hip-hop. This culture is not their own, so why would they? It is a novelty and a knockoff made by snake oil salesmen who are able to stand out through cultural appropriation. It's the American way. And please understand, this isn't to say white people can't participate in or be a part of hip-hop culture. Regardless of specific opinions about them, rappers like Eminem and Paul Wall aren't seen as appropriators, but participators and guests in the culture. They have given nonstop credit to the originators of the culture and largely collaborate with other black artists, not stepping on the toes of those that created what they're a part of. Ritz did this interview recently where he commented on MAGA rappers and specifically stated that rap is black music and the conservative MAGA lane is disrespectful to hip hop.
But let's not use rap music. I don't care what you feel like in regular society, that's fine, but rap music?
It's black music, and when you're using your music to shit on Black Lives Matter and to push Blue Lives Matter and police, I'm like, bro, someone get these people the fuck up out of here. Like,
man, this is rap music. That's it. I'm just a hip hop. I'll just leave it as simple as that. I'm hip hop, bro, and that shit ain't cool.
Atmosphere, 7L and Esoteric, Apathy, Aesop Rock, Z-Trip, A-Track, and many, many other white rappers, DJs, graffiti artists, and breakers are accepted and pay homage to the culture, and it's not that they're forbidden from thinking in different ways politically, but they understand that there is no culture to participate in and benefit from without the liberal and leftist side that created it. Towards the end of the piece, the MAGA rappers end up performing at an all-ages conservative family event as the only rap acts. No others were invited. While there, they piss off the staff of the venue who wouldn't have worked it if they knew that these grifters would be there, ripping up a pride flag on stage and yelling about killing gay people. The Vice reporter herself is a lesbian, and staffers of the event have LGBTQIA family members. Regardless, the event goes off without a hitch. We even get to see the black guy's family show up to support him and find out that one of them was a former Black Panther. So again, this guy is a terrible person and knew better. He just doesn't care. The money is just too good and his contempt for everything LGBTQIA and liberal is too strong. None of that makes sense, but it all makes dollars. So thanks, Trump. And unfortunately, that brings me to this stupid ass song by that dude Tom MacDonald, another conservative rapper who's one of the worst people inspired by Eminem to exist. While his entire discography is a stain on music, he made this track recently that shows how much he doesn't respect hip hop as a culture or rap as music by creating his own minstrel performance with Ben Shapiro. While Tom is already a problem due to his views being expressed in his music, bringing conservative knuckle-dragger Ben Shapiro on to rap the worst bars known to man shows that neither of them actually respect rap as a talent. I've said before that one reason we judge rap differently than singing is because we automatically hear someone with a singing voice as being gifted, but to the untrained ear, rapping is just people talking in rhyme. To get someone like Ben featured on a song in that way shows that it's all about the views and attention, not about any skill or respect for rap. Ben has repeatedly talked down about rap music in his platforms. Say what you will about Dame Dash, but on the soundtrack to Paid in Full, there was a separate album for Dream Team included. Dame is featured on 2 songs, including one called I Am Dame Dash. On Champions, he starts off saying, "You thought I was gonna rap? Never." He expresses a similar sentiment on his own song where Jim Jones and Cameron rap while he talks. Dame is respectful enough to know that he doesn't have the talent for rap, but he can find those that do. A vulture would get on and have some rhymes written for them and have the most untrained cadence just to do it. That's what Tom and Ben did. In this scenario, be more like Dame. Just this one though. So there's this guy I knew, a former classmate, a white dude. He's a teacher in a southern border state and mostly teaches brown kids. He loves Wu-Tang, Black Moon, Far Side, all the Native Tongues crew. He even shows up to his classes in New Jordans to show the kids who would appreciate it. Even posted pics on Facebook. And yet he was a right-leaning libertarian who wasn't fond of Trump but was largely okay with every other conservative platform. He endorsed the deportation of undocumented workers here in these states, but would post sad statuses when his students couldn't come back to school because, well, their families got deported. And even as a teacher, the cognitive dissonance prevented him from putting 2 and 2 together. I remember one of his centrist statuses saying that it was so sad that his students were gone and he wished there was a better way for them to stay, even though he's the one that actively voted for them to take those people away. I'm pretty sure that was the point I blocked him. Just like those Rage Against the Machine fans, he somehow knew all of the words to Cash Rules Everything Around Me, Raekwon and Inspector Deck retelling their hard lives, and still came out a conservative with no vision as to how this was a conflict. These are the real culture vultures, ones who want to hear what they want to hear, even if that's not what's truly being said, only to dismiss the origins of the music, the culture, and the people. They want to divorce themselves and the creators from any political side, assign their own meanings, and think that everything is fine, but wonder why people don't think their affection is genuine. The real ones know. And I don't mean people who just love real hip hop. No, it's people who are an actual part of the culture that rap music speaks for and speaks from. We're not trying to hear all of that immigrants need to be kicked out when so many of our black and brown families are immigrants. We're not trying to hear about how great the cops are when the cops were and still are trying to shut down hip hop as it's expressed in the streets. We're not trying to hear about less funding for schools and welfare when these things weren't given in spades to begin with and ended up producing the culture and community you decry. Hip-hop culture and its elements do not align with the conservative mindset or MAGA thinking, and largely this hasn't been too much of an issue to where there's legitimacy in it. However, we need to hold those accountable who are trying to grift off a culture that isn't their own. We need to be aware, and they need to know that we'll never respect them in our circles for appropriating what we created to use alongside white supremacy that hates it. Understand you're not welcome. You're not even guests in hip hop. You're salesmen that got denied at the door, heard beats coming from inside. You'll never be invited in to get the real thing. Thanks to everyone coming up. Thank you for supporting Brilliance Proper. I know it's been a couple of months since I did my last, or technically first video, but I'm gonna upload a lot more of these things up here and get everything going. I'm not gonna go so long without my next video coming up. I've already got some plans for new things, so please stay tuned here at YouTube. Definitely come over to TikTok, follow me there, but I'm gonna put more of these long form videos up, and hopefully you shouldn't have to worry too long and wait forever to get more and more stuff from me. It's gonna be pretty consistent. Peace to hip hop. Peace to you and yours. Stay safe. See you next time.